Hey, first grade, this is math lesson 113. Math lesson 113, our new concept is creating and reading a bar graph with a scale of 2. Okay, so we're going to use pennies today. Hopefully you've already done your class fact practice 113A. That was multiplying by fives, remember, counting by fives, which were really, we do really, hey, blee, 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 blee. Okay, what we do really well is counting by fives, and multiplying by fives is the same thing. So you've practiced that for 3 minutes on 113A, class fact practice, and you've double checked that, so nice work. Now let's move on to our lesson. What we're going to do today is use pennies, and you're going to need 20 pennies. And if you can't find 20 pennies, I would be shocked, but you could also, if you're out of pennies, use nickels or dimes, and if maybe your family's just so rich you only keep quarters, but we would like to use pennies because we've taken a look at pennies before. And remember how we looked at the penny. Let me find a penny. Now I'm going to zoom in. Let me move this just a little bit. Math lesson 113. Let me zoom in and let him focus. Ooh. This penny, as you can see, was minted. Remember, that's his birthday right there. And his birthday says 1981. You can also see the small letter down below. Remember, that is where he was born. It's a D. Remember that there are four places where pennies or coins are minted. Mint means made. We call that kind of their birthday. They're made in Philadelphia, in Denver, in San Francisco, and West Point. Now, we saw a D. The D tells us that penny was made in Denver. Most of our pennies that we might see around here probably have a D. Denver is the closest city of the mint cities, so a lot of our pennies have a D on them. But you might see those other initials, and that tells you they've come from farther away. Now, the penny told us that that penny was made in 1981, okay? 1981. We're going to make a list of pennies using 20 pennies. Up here, you'll see this row for the mint date of pennies. If the penny was made before 1980, we're going to put a tally mark in this box. If it was made from 80 to 1984, that would be 1980. 1981, 1982, 1983, 1984. So if its mint date is then, we'll put a tally mark here. If it's from 1985 to 1989, we'll put a tally mark here. 90 to 94, tally mark. So again, you can see, and here's one if it's from 2005 all the way to now, 2020. I don't know if I have any brand new pennies. My pennies have been around a long time. So we'll see what we see. Now that first penny that I did said what? Yeah, it said its mint date was 1981. That means it's after 1980, but before 1984. So I'm going to put a tally mark right there. All right, I'm going to take a look at my next penny. Let's see. I'm pushing the button to see if it will focus for me. But he's confused because he sees this and not the penny. So I'm going to have to use my own eyes, which is a very sad thing. Oh, 1991. That penny says 1991. Where should he go? 1990 to 1994. So 1991 falls in here. Put a tally mark. I'm going to do 20 pennies like this. Oh, this penny says 1980. This penny says 1980 as far as you know. That's what it looks like to me. 1980. 1980 would go right here because look, 1980. Okay, so now I've done 3 pennies and I have 3 tally marks. I'm going to keep going. Oh, this one says 1996. 1996. Bigger than 95, but smaller than 99. So 1996. Keep going till I have all 20 pennies. Woo, 2015. Look at him. He's shiny and new. Also from Denver, I might add. 2015, well, 2005 and everything after 2005, he's going to go there. This penny says 1995, also from Denver. 1995, aha, 1995. Okay. Now, I'm going to do 20 pennies. You can pause and do your own pennies and then rejoin me, or you can just keep watching me as I do this, and then you can pause and do your 20 pennies. Your 20 pennies and my 20 pennies are going to look different. Does that make sense? We have different pennies with different dates. This one says 2006, also from Denver, 2006. All right, I'm going to let you pause. Does everyone understand? If you don't understand, ask Mom. We're making tally marks to show where our 20 pennies, the date of our 20 pennies. 2011 for this nice shiny one. Oh, this guy looks a little older. 1974. 1974 is before 1980. So there's a tally mark for that box. Here's another guy. Another 1974? What a surprise. Another tally mark. What about you, my friend? 1995. 1995. Putting all my tally marks. 2001. 2001. Bigger than 2000, but smaller than 2001. Keep going till you've done your pennies. Still doing mine. Oh, dropped a few pennies. What do you say? 2007. So you're bigger than 2005. 1999. Look how dirty he is. I can't even read him. I'll get a different penny. I can't read you at all, dirty penny guy. Oh, 1999. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 of those. All right, I have 5 more pennies to write down. 1991 goes here. 1995, oh, he's so popular, goes there. He has the most votes so far for me. What about you? Oh, wow, he's, ooh, shiny. 2017, he's only 3 years old. 2017 gives me 5 now, there. 2003 goes there. This is my last penny. 2001. Okay, now, to make sure I did 20 pennies, I can count my tally marks. 5, 10. So I counted my 2 groups of 5, so I have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, so now I've counted and done the mint dates of my pennies. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this information and put them on this graph. Right here, do you see before 1980? And what did you see up here? Before 1980. So now I'm going to take this information and put it on this graph. But let's look at the scale, or what does this graph count by? What do you see? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So you'll notice that this graph counts by 2. Yes, that this graph counts by 2. And in my first before 1980, let's look. How many do I need to fill in? How many did I have? That's right, 2. I'm going to change to a colored pencil instead of a marker. I think that would work better for coloring this graph in. This is me trying to decide on a color. First grade, what color should I pick? Who's going to be surprised? Okay, guess. Everybody guess what color. Guess what color I'm going to pull out. Guess. Everybody has a guess? I'm going to use green. Do you know why I picked green? Because green are even. And if we're counting by even numbers, I'm going to use green. You can pick any color you like. All right, so before 1980 had 2 votes. So I'm going to count to the 2, and I can say this is as tall as I'm going to go, okay? So I'm going to color in 2 votes. If you did your own pennies and you have different numbers, then you do your tally mark number. Okay, I'm doing my tally marks. If you had a different number here, then you're going to have a different answer down here. Okay, before, excuse me, 1980 to 1984, how many tally marks? 2. 1980 to 1984, do you see where the 2 is? I'm counting by 2s, so I'm going to fill in another box. If you have a different number, you have to count it differently. Does that make sense? Yeah, different number, a different count. For 1985 to 1989, I had 0. So I don't color any here. For 1990 to 1994, let's see what I had. I had 2 again. I have a lot of even numbers. When it's an even number, it's easy to count because you just color to the line. But I think you would have to have a different strategy if you have an odd number. So hang on. I think I'm going to have an odd number. This is 1995 to 1999. I have how many? 6. Is that an even number or an odd number? An even. I have another even number. It's making it easy. So when I see where the 6 is and where I need to color, I can count 2, 4, 6. I know I'm going to stop here, see where the 6 is. That's my stop sign. Stop right there. Okay, so I'm going to color straight up this time because I can do all 3 boxes at the same time, and that's faster than sideways to me. Coloring up to this where I kind of drew my stop sign at the 6, so I know that's where to stop. All right, so here's my graph so far. Let's see what 2000 to 2004 has. 2000 to 2004, I have how many? 1, 2, 3. Finally, there's an odd number. Well, if I'm counting by even numbers and I have a 3, where do you think the 3 will go? Here's the 2. Here's the 4. Where's 3? Yeah, if you're counting, it's right between the 2 and the 4. So we drew kind of imagine, hey, everybody, I'm a 3. You can't see me. Hey, why is he green? Ugh, trying to trick us. So the 3 is halfway between the 2 and the 4. So I have to imagine there's a 3 line, and then I can color it in. Okay? So on the odd number, because we're counting by 2s, we only go halfway. Now, 2005 to now, well, how many tally marks? 5. That's another odd number. Where would 5 be if I were counting? Yeah, between the 4 and the 6. Here's the 4, here's the 6. So I'm going to go about halfway between the 4 and the 6. Ooh, that is very good, Mrs. Wilson. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Wilson. No, thank you, Mrs. Wilson. No, thank you. Nice stop sign, color to the stop sign, then color in your graph. All right, thank you, first grade. So now, I guess you could have done it with me and your graph matches mine exactly, but if you had your own 20 pennies, your graph probably looks different, as it should, because we had different pennies. But here are the questions we are going to answer, okay? How many pennies were minted in the years 1985 through 1989? So your job is to find 1985 to 1989 and write down what your answer is. On my page, I had 0. What a surprise. Now this part's a little bit tricky. Listen carefully. How many pennies were minted after 1989? Here's 1989. This, or rather these, are all the pennies after 1989. Remember, if it colors the whole place, we're counting by 2s. Counting by 2. So let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay, I counted all of my completely colored in, counting by 2 blocks, and I got 14. But I have this half block and this half block. And remember, they represent 1 and 1. So if I had 14, now I can add 15, 16. On my chart, I had 16 pennies that were minted after 1989. So I blocked out everything before and counted everything after. You should do the same on your graph. Which column has the most pennies? Well, for me, as I look, he is my winner. It would be 1995 to 1999. That's on my graph. You may have a different column on your graph. Okay, so that was lesson worksheet 113. For the guided class practice, you will be using a centimeter measurement to do your name and date, and then the very first one, Okay, if you'd like to work it together, you want to pause or come back or work with me. I'm going to do number 1 since this is our brand new graph that is counting by twos. Remember, we've done a pictograph that counted by twos, and now we're just doing a bar graph that counts by twos. So the children in Mrs. Affinito's class chose their favorite fruits. 8 children chose bananas. 15 children chose oranges, and 7 children chose apples. You're going to color the graph to show what the children chose. All right, so how many kids chose bananas? 8. How many kids chose oranges? 15. How many kids chose apples? 7. Ah, look, I circled apples. What should I have circled? 7. Pay attention to the lesson, Mrs. Wilson. All right, so let's do first things first. How many for bananas? 8. Remember that I can count 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, when I get there, I know I can stop there. And if I put a dot in it, it means I'm going to color the whole thing. And that's just a little, mathematician shortcut. Rather than color 1 square, 1 square, 1 square, we can color the whole row. Oranges had how many? 15. Count with me. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. There were how many? 15. That's an odd number. So you can imagine 15 belongs where? Yeah, between the 14 and the 16. So I'm going to draw my stop sign right there. Now I can color the whole row rather quickly. Don't go past the stop sign though, you will get a ticket. The policeman will pull you over and give you a math ticket. And apples. How many children chose apples? 7. That's right, another odd number. But we're counting by twos. 2, 4, 6. That means 7 is between the 6 and the 8. So I draw my stop sign. I do not want to get a math ticket. Running past the stop sign. Okay, so here's the next part. So you filled in the graph, and if you need to pause to do that, fantastic. Write a question for the graph. Okay, so let's write a thinking question. What would be a thinking question? All right, let's do this together and then we'll call it done. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, maybe you were thinking how many more kids chose oranges than apples? Is that a thinking question? Oh, sorry, first grade, the lesson's over. We got to go. Time to pack up for car line. Ha ha ha. Now, that's a thinking question. How many more children chose oranges than apple? Okay. Now I want you to think of your own question. If you want to say it out loud to mom, make it a thinking question. We'll call that done, okay? Because we talked about it. All right, and you can finish the rest of the page. All right, thanks first grade. That was lesson 113.